This week on Xenomania, join us as we explore the Turkish hellscape that is Baskin. Along the way, we will discuss Turkish names that we can't pronounce and a really amazing hellish time loop. This is Baskin. This is Xenomania.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Baskin.
So good.
Baskin.
Such a good film. Shutter production, IFC films. I mean, anything I feel like with IFC branded on it, it's going to be gory and it's going to be a winner. I mean, Midnight Meat Train, Maniac, just to name a couple. Baskin fits right into it.
I loves Midnight Meat Trains.
Have you seen the movie?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I just couldn't resist the joke. It's a great movie.
I was like, there's not a lot of meats on there.
Baskin was a pleasant surprise. So for some reason, I went into this thinking you guys both hated it. And I was like, all right, so this is going to be one of those like grind through it for the episode kind of movies. And I was like, oh, no, this is good. Oh, this is good. No, this is good.
I love Baskin. Baskin was like an accidental Shutter find.
Oh, nice. Those are the best.
I was just flipping through, like looking for a movie, reading descriptions, and I just went in with the description. So everything that happened after that was a complete surprise.
That's cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
This one ticks the boxes.
It's like fairly recently, like 8 or 9 years ago, but like right around this time that I watched it first, because I stumbled across Facebook memories because I watched it with my friend Mill, and just us going back and forth. What did we just watch? This movie is so messed up. What did we just, and it is, but it's so messed up in a good way.
It's like Hellraiser level, I feel.
There's definitely an influence from Hellraiser, absolutely. Event Horizon too. I was thinking of that a lot when I was watching it.
Mm-hmm. The visuals, right?
Too far, right inside of the whatever you want to call that structure, house, tenement, whatever it is.
Hell,
abandoned police station.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay,
portal to hell.
Yeah, portal to hell. You know, one or the other. So Baskin itself starts out, dear viewers, with a little kid hearing his mom get railed. And, that's a great way to set the tone. And he goes, checks the TV and whatnot, and then he gets beckoned by this hand. And we get introduced to the main antagonist pretty early. It's him. And also a very cool Turkish folklore myth. This thing, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, but the movie starts with that tone, that freaky in-home kid getting snatched kind of tone.
How scared would you have to be as a kid to go bang on your mom's door when you knew she was having sex?
Oh, very scared.
You added the last part. I almost answered a little quickly. But I've told you guys the story about the Child's Play thing when I would run and bang on the door after I watched Chucky at like 5 years old, the original Child's Play. And then I had a nightmare about him meeting me on the way to her room and getting me. And I got to the room and they were sick of my crap, waking them up every night. So I banged on the door and it was locked. And I think I lost like a year of my life. I was so scared. Cheers, everybody.
I've never been scared. I feel like if I'm scared, I always like ran to my room because that was like my safe spot. The only time I actually really ran was from Evil when she pops out from the cellar. Like, not expecting it, and pretty young to watch the film, but yeah, I got the hell out of there. I went to my room, put the Super Nintendo on, chilled out. My uncles were laughing. I'm like, thanks for that trauma. Can't go in the basement for a while.
Yep. Never want to go by the boiler.
My worst nightmare from a movie when I was a kid was not horror related at all. It was Planet of the Apes.
Oh,
it was Planet of the
close.
Apes. Like I had recurring nightmares that the old Italian couple across the street from me turned into the apes from Planet of the Apes and chased me around the neighborhood.
Amazing. On their knuckles?
Multiple times. Sometimes on their knuckles, sometimes on 2 feet. The 2 feet was way worse.
I
That's
can
so
just
cool.
I can see John in the opening scene, like looking over through the haze as they're riding the horses with the nets. Get off
Yeah.
me!
No.
Damn dirty apes.
Amazing. Well,
Cut
this
your
kid
chains,
catches
I'm
it worse
serious.
than any of us did. They get right to the action. So I love movies that have misdirection. I love movies that have time loops. I love movies that link things from beginning to end and have hidden things you can look up after. This has all of them.
Mm-hmm. And things you catch when you watch it more. Like, this was the first time I really caught when they pass over into hell, because they do pass over into hell. And it's when they're in the van. It's not by the time they get to the abandoned police station, they're already in hell. Because there's a shot as they're driving with the van where they invert the shot.
Oh, neat.
There's just a quick moment where it's upside down, and that's hell.
They do.
That's cool. I didn't
Yeah.
catch that at all. That's cool.
I've
Okay.
seen this movie 5 or 6 times. I think this is the first time I put that together.
I thought he
Neat.
was just doing something pretty cool to like
I mean-
spice it up a bit, but
I mean,
that
yeah,
makes
he's
sense.
doing something cool, but I like that's the moment, because after that,
like
nothing is remotely okay.
That's hints throughout, and I mean, we'll cover. It's like, what are those people doing there? The ones who are by the fire.
I don't
Like,
know if that was like
I'm
a little
curious on that.
purgatorio kind of thing.
That's what I think. Yeah.
A little nod to like the idea of the respite. Because they even say like maybe chill here and rest a bit before you get started on that. Like
Okay.
sort of. Yeah,
can see
one of the
that.
characters there, by the way, I have to tell you guys about later. This reminds me of somebody we know, but I love the frogs, and Ryan wanted to kind of
Frogs are
touch on the frogs a bit.
Yeah, the frogs were a nice surprise. Like, once I saw that, I kind of went back to like CCD, and I thought of the story of Moses and how the frogs drop down because they're nasty, they're slimy, they carry disease. And right after I see it, like when not Sephi, Yavuz, when Yavuz goes into the bathroom and
Oh, I think that's Sephi.
Is it Sephi?
Yeah.
It is Sephi.
Yavuz is the hot-headed guy.
Okay.
Get ready for like a Lefteries menu of names, listeners, because even though it's Turkish and not Greek, but
And-
these names are going to bug you out.
About a 5% chance that we pronounce them all correctly.
Yeah.
Especially
exactly.
when
Get 'em
we get into some of the actors' names, like, forget it.
Yeah.
That's gonna.
The frogs usually signified that Baba was around. And Baba, by the way, we'll touch on a little bit at this point, is like we said, there from the beginning. He's in the scene. We segue from the child abduction scene to 5 cops hanging out in a little cantina cafe, being absolute pricks. Not really the beginning. They're like gambling in the beginning, like doing their version of a fantasy football draft.
So it's like 2 of them are really jerks, Yavuz and Apo. Sephi's like kind of sick the whole time. And then Remzi, who in most of the movie is just referred to as boss, and Arda, the youngest one, are more like reserved, like, and it's later sort of revealed that they have kind of a sense of what's going on and what's about to happen to them.
Yep, almost as though it's not their first time running through the cycle, which is alluded to a bit later as well. And there is a cycle feeling to this. We'll get into that a little bit later too. But Baba, who we'll just say now, he's a demon. It's an allusion to a demon in Turkish folklore. He is Tarim Baba, which is a very niche little bit of folklore too, which I liked a lot. It's like a Serbian/Turkish niche folk myth. And he's just a nightmare demon that abducts children, creeps into the house. And Baba means father.
Yep.
Which is in this context. So it's super neat. And he's there throughout the beginning as this cloaked figure. And he's usually heralded by the frogs. If you see the frogs, you know that Baba's like right around there.
Yeah. So it's probably a good time to sort of introduce that actor as well. which will also be the first name that I absolutely butcher tonight. Baba is played by Mehmet Sarahoglu.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Good.
And he's not really made up. Like he has a rare skin condition that makes him look like that. And it was like really a big factor in him getting cast because this is also his like feature film debut.
Oh, he
And
killed
he
it.
crushed it. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say he did not miss a beat.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed comfortable in the role. He was jacked.
He had
He
the
had like
aura.
little person jacked to him as well because he's got to be like 4'10", maybe.
Mhm.
Which also adds to a weird mystique. But he walks up, he's like this swole little dude when he actually unveils his physique. You're like, oh my God.
It's the presence,
Mhm.
it's the menace. It's also like the lighting too. I feel like what the director, I'm gonna mess up, Khan Evranol, how he uses the lighting with in the beginning with the red and the static on the TV and the blue and just to show like danger and death. It's a nice mix and it kind of
Mhm.
gets you as the viewer to gain more attention to it besides reading the subtitles.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So what Evrenol did after he cast Mehmet for this role is he had him go home and watch Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser,
Okay.
The Descent,
But definitely.
Oh, interesting.
and Apocalypse Now.
I feel the Apocalypse Now more
Yeah.
than the other three.
Yeah,
Marlon Brando.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Hellraiser stuff is there, and you know he doesn't have like the wisecracking Freddy Krueger stuff, but he does have sort of like that sort of menace to him. And you know the Descent I feel like is less in him than in the movements of his minions, so to speak. The way they
Fair.
move around is very much like the Descent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. Maybe it was just to get the idea of like the visual and like how to handle
Yeah.
that surrounding as that character, maybe.
Hell needs
Yeah.
imps, and imps were aplenty. And I'm sure they, you know, with their budget and stuff, they didn't have the money to make millions of them, so they had to make the ones that they had count. They do a good job with it. That's one thing the movie doesn't sell is the expansive nature when you think of like a hell or, you know, you think of a dimension or a large space. This movie is very confined, claustrophobic even.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very.
Even-
It's really 3 sets, right? Like you have the
Yeah, just
restaurant,
about.
the van, and then the abandoned police station. There's, you know, the brief campfire stuff, but it's really just those 3 locations.
Yeah.
And it's very contained, but with that being contained, it allows the suspense to build more. Like that little campfire scene to get you to the police station shows that intensity. And like, are you making the right decision? Like, we're trying to do the right thing, quote unquote, but we're also going to get into some trouble.
Yeah.
And trouble seems to follow them because they're mostly pricks. So we get that in the cafe. The director needed to make us like understand why these people might end up in hell, and they do a great job. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
was it Yemet in the beginning that gets after the kid?
Yavuz, that's
Later?
Yavuz. Yeah.
Yavuz.
Yeah, he's really the one. Like he's the dirtbag of this group by a long way.
They're all kind of corralling him for most of the movie, or egging him on.
Yeah.
He's that guy too for
Yeah.
the other like 2 medium evils. And then there's 2 that are generally seem like they're good guys. The driver, I forget his name, the guy who was in the bathroom we were alluding to
Safety.
earlier. Yeah, Safety. And
Steffi.
then our protagonist.
Arda.
I always want to say Abba, so I was waiting for you to say his name again, Arda. Which is a cool name. I wonder what the meaning of that name is. But as we go on, so you get this feeling of, all right, these guys are pricks. They're corrupt police officers. They do whatever they want. and I don't care if bad things happen to them. Bad things start happening pretty fast. Seffi gets sick in the bathroom. And then the first hint that there's something else going on in the movie, besides the fact that there's a cloaked figure delivering buckets of meat to the
Yep.
restaurant, but it's
Questionable
also the chief, their boss, seems to know what's going on with Seffi and why he's getting sick and upset, and as though he's well aware of what's happening.
Yeah. And Seffi goes and gets sick, and he's got the frog in the soap dish in there, and
Baba's
Yeah.
behind him in the mirror. You get your suspense, and then we kind of segue right over to like, bam, okay, we're getting in the van, we're leaving. They had the fight, and
And
off
up
we
that
go.
poor
We're
kid.
driving. We get a call while we're driving to go to a 4455, I think it is, and I couldn't figure out what the code is. Everything I found said it's just a made up code.
yeah, they say in the movie that it's a call for backup,
Yes.
and it's at Insiaku.
The name,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
There's
the
a little
name.
town.
Yeah, like a little town, and with an abandoned police station that goes back to like the Ottoman rule in Turkey.
And who knows, why not have a little Hellmouth town right off the beaten path
Yeah.
that the guy knows how to get to? And he's like, I've heard stories about this since I was a child. So it makes it sound like
Yeah.
it's like a click away from them, but nobody goes there. So that's a little suspend your disbelief but that's where we can kind of pause for a second and maybe do some of our games and stuff, because we're kind of throwing a lot at the listener
Yeah.
at this
Yeah,
point.
Good.
But
It's a good game time break. I've been sort of debating how I want to do this one. It's a slasher stash.
Slasher stash.
I think I'm gonna make it. You can only stash 3 today.
Okay.
You bastard. Are there 10 again?
There are 8.
Okay. You got to cut 5.
You gotta cut
Aww.
these. Yep, right off the bat. Right
A
off
primal
the bat.
psychedelic rage scream of a movie. How do you slash this?
I have not seen Mandy yet, so I am safe and I can slash it for right
It's
now.
literally a slash film.
Fair on that
I
point.
don't trust John, so I'm going to slash it. I feel like he put this banger up early for a reason, to trick us into being
So
sad later. And then
You're both slashing Mandy, huh? Mandy is late era Nicolas Cage at his best, because you have a director in Panos Cosmatos that sort of can keep him in enough check that his overacting craziness doesn't ruin the movie.
sort of.
The beast.
Yeah, I still gotta slash it.
It's on my list. I
You're
do
up to
want to watch
something.
it. I do want to watch it, but not tonight.
He's been
Oh,
good in
it-
a few of his weird movies that have come up in the
Mhm.
last 5 years.
Yeah, he's popping back up for good reason. He worked his butt off for so long on the B movie list, trying to get his money back up, his credibility, and he's there again.
He's
Yeah,
an
I
Oscar-winning
mean,
actor. It's
he's
wild
kind-
that this happened to him.
He's kind of there again. Like, he still takes some really, really awful roles.
Yeah,
And then
roles.
and again, like, it's sort of a thing, like the last 10 or 15 years, the best movies are the ones where a director can keep him somewhat restrained within the madness before he gets to like the insane overacting,
true.
right? So we're both slashing Mandy. Next.
By the way, just as a quick aside, there's a great clip of Face Off where he's holding Travolta screaming, "Die! Die!" If it's circulating the internet, and it gives you a good idea what it's like to work with Nick Cage.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely a slash. Screw this
Yeah,
movie.
I'm
I hate this
slashing
movie
it.
so much. This movie is like the most unrealized potential in any film I think I've ever seen.
Disappointment.
Yeah. That's I think that's probably the easiest one. Next.
You know we hate it, so yeah.
Yep. OG
They're
Wicker
not all
Man.
Nick Cage movies because
They are
he's
not.
not in the village.
They are not.
He's not in the village.
He's not in OG Wicker Man either.
Dude,
There's a
fair
connection
point.
though.
I'm gonna stash this one. I like this. I like the Wicker Man. I'll stash the original Wicker Man.
So good.
Okay.
This is number 4 or number 3?
Three.
3.
It's like
I'm gonna slash it.
ooh.
I'm gonna slash it. I think he's got some bangers coming up, Ryan.
I'll take the chance, but the Wicker Man it's so good.
It's iconic.
Just the
It is
beginning to the end.
iconic. We'll see. We'll see how you feel about slashing that one.
I feel sad
Next.
already. Oh, stash. Stash. I love this movie.
The Endless? No.
You haven't seen it? Oh,
Oh,
Ryan.
dude.
Well, that's why I'm gonna slash
Ryan.
it though.
Oh, Ryan, you're breaking my heart.
I'm sorry, John. Right before
Mandatory viewing.
You're tearing me apart, Ryan.
tearing me apart.
right after Valentine's Day. I'm sorry, John. I'm
You
sorry.
can watch Spring right after Valentine's
Man.
Day if you want.
Midsummer.
Man.
I'm waiting for that to pop up actually because Wicker Man has me thinking of Midsummer, but
If that does, that's a stash for me. I like
Start out with
Midsummer.
Mandy. Time loops.
It's not
Doesn't
time
really
loops.
make
That's
sense.
not bad. That's not a bad guess. It's not time loops though.
Hell.
It's not hell.
Right.
Maybe this one will help.
Cults. No. Yeah, Cults.
Ooh, yeah.
It is cults. It is cults.
Nice.
Howling is a stash.
Oh, but that means hold on. If
I'll do 2 in a row. I'm not scared. The Howling's a banger too.
then I'll have 1 to keep and then 2 to get rid of. Ah. Man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stash it. I do like the Howling. Now it's getting hard. This isn't fun no more.
That's
Howling
why I
is one of
made
those
it.
ones.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
That's why I made it 3 and 5. 4 and 4, I think, is too easy for this one.
Okay. Fair.
3 and 5 is tougher. All right.
Are there 2 more or 3 more?
3 more.
left.
Oh, that's not good. Okay.
No.
3 left. You both have 1 stash and 2 slashes, and here's your next one. Children of the Corn.
I dig these, Malachi. I dig these, but like, I'm gonna slash Children of the Corn. Just purely because there was like 15 sequels, and I got Children of the Corn out.
But the first one's such a classic with Linda Hamilton, and
It's really good.
but he
I'm
might have
okay with slashing it.
he might have Midsummer on here. I will
I would
I'll regretfully slash this.
I liked Midsummer, but I didn't find it to be very groundbreaking in any way. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Mhm.
It's like an homage to the Wicker Man in its own sense with a group of friends. That's how I saw it, with old people jumping off cliffs.
Yeah.
Fair.
I thought it was.
Fair.
I thought it was fine.
Fair enough.
Fair
All right.
enough.
Second to last.
This is usually where he gives us a really good meaty. Oh,
I'm gonna slash this. I've heard a lot from
Ooh.
John about this.
Martyrs
Oh.
is really good, dude. Martyrs is really good.
I know
Ryan, you are
I know this is
breaking
gonna-
my heart tonight, Ryan.
I know
I'm
this
gonna
is gonna go on the list.
I feel like this is part of his trap, though, giving you a bunch of crap, so I stash it, and then I have to slash the last one.
Midsummer.
I wouldn't mind that. I'd take Martyrs over Midsummer. In fact, I'm gonna stash Martyrs. I'm gonna stash it. I gotta.
This is spoiler, everyone. This is with the fillet scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie messed me up so much the first time I watched it, and the second time I watched it, and
This
the
is a
third
tough
time.
one for somebody who hates body horror. It's a
Is
great
it-
movie, though.
But is it worse than Bring Her Back?
No,
It's more disturbing to me. It's
it
way
is
more.
more.
This disturbed me
My
way
issue,
more than Bring
my
Her
issue
Back.
with Bring Her Back isn't that it's disturbing. overly disturbing. It's the gratuitous overdoing of self-harm stuff that I
Right.
feel like even detracts from the movie. I don't even think it adds to it. I think that
Um,
movie would be much better without some of the over-the-top stuff they make that little kid do.
I-
This is different, in my
Filet.
opinion. Ooh,
Yeah,
noir.
this is so. I watched this movie the first time maybe 6 months before I met Allison, and we were dating for a little while. And I was like, "All right, you want to watch the movie that's disturbed me the most in my entire life?" She's like, "Yeah," because she's always down for disturbing me. So we watched it, and at the end, I'm like messed up. And I look at her, and I'm like, "Well, no, it wasn't that bad.
Oh my God.
Didn't bother her
Red
at
flag, John.
all.
That-
At all."
Yeah, this is
Wait.
this one will mess you up. Watch the Endless first. It'll be a little happier for you.
Well, if you're
Wait,
gonna watch
Can
the
you watch
Endless,
it after?
Yeah,
If
John
you're-
will tell you what to do.
if you're gonna watch the Endless, you have to watch Resolution first, because while it's not a sequel to the Resolution, they are set parallel. Like there's the same stories running through the two movies, just from different aspects of each movie. You definitely
cool.
have to watch them together.
Film
Very nice.
simultaneously or film separately?
I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think simultaneously. I think just separately.
That's
All right.
pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Real quick.
Resolution Endless
Say that.
Spring.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, to do something like that, to have two films and have the same story run along and film separately, that's
Yeah.
pretty
Mhm.
amazing to say that.
All right. So the last movie, and I feel like I did no deceiving here. All the deception was done by Ryan with his
Oh,
Midsummer.
no.
Midsummer's on here. Midsummer's on here. You know what? Midsummer
not.
is not on here. We are going
Oh,
with
no.
the greatest movie
Rosemary's Baby.
featuring a cult ever. I kept Rosemary's Baby off because I know Ryan has
Wow.
never seen it.
I have it in beautiful 4K. I will make sure to watch it this weekend.
I believe you have to say glorious 4K. I believe everybody I've ever watched talk about 4Ks calls it glorious. I think it's like mandatory.
Glorious.
It's mandatory. Yes.
There's your last movie.
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with
fine
this. I'll take Martyrs over Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
that.
It feels like a
Monkey-
genre
Chilled
jump.
monkey brains.
Genre jump too. But no, I love this movie. You kidding me?
Mhm.
The opening scene when they're in the restaurant and he gives them the poison and just short round.
Temple of Doom is my favorite. I like it the
Mhm.
most out of all the Indiana Joneses.
Yep, me
More
too.
than
People
Last
fight me
Crusade?
on that. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. I like Last Crusade, but I feel like Last Crusade sort of falls more into like the goofiness of
Yeah,
things.
it gets a little campy.
And
Temple
so
of Doom's darker.
yeah. And we
Speaking of
all know
darker.
I like the darker versions of everything.
All right, that was a fun one. That was a good
That was
slasher
good.
slash. I'm happy
Nice
with it
look.
too. Happy with
I
how
think
it turned
I
out.
think it worked out that you were both kind of happy despite Ryan's deception.
Yeah,
I thought Midsummer would be on the list.
I did think Midsummer was going to be there, to be honest with you.
It's a big culty
He
film.
could have done Hereditary. He could have done a bunch of cult
Yeah.
movies that are a little bit more recent. I'm glad he didn't because I think there's so many of them are sort of tropey.
I would have.
And
I would have
overly
slashed
derivative.
Hereditary.
Like, I'm not a film snob by any means, but when I see something that's just ripping off Rosemary's Baby over and over again, I'm like, ah. So,
That's fair.
anywho, Baskin is not ripping off Rosemary's Baby, that's for sure.
No,
No.
definitely not. It's more its own thing with a little borrowing here and here, but making it unique in its own way.
Yeah, it has its clear influences, but it's not ripping anything off.
No, it's
No.
it's original to the core. With the lore, the religious background, and just the characters too. Because, I mean, like we're saying, like a couple of these characters, they're somewhat likable, but the rest are just jerks. And to go back to the boss, since the beginning, like you can tell like he's got an idea. We were saying that he knows something. Like I always kept thinking like because they have these flashbacks between him and Arda that
I
it
don't
kind
think those
of
are flashbacks. I think those are in the moment. They sort of jump
their bodies.
out of their bodies, out of the police station, back to like the comfort of that restaurant, so they can discuss what is going on. And you get a moment.
Okay.
The first, I think it's the first time they jump back to the restaurant where boss, whose name is actually Ramsey,
Mhm.
reveals to Arda that Arda's the only other person that has ever seen the hooded figure that's around him. Like Ramsey has seen it all for a while apparently, and Arda is the only other person to ever see it. And we also learned that Arda has had was to some extent raised by Ramsey. That Arda's uncle gave him to Ramsey at some point.
We find out
So-
that his parents died in a car accident. His best
Mhm.
friend also died in a car accident. We continue
Yeah,
on that path for
we
foreshadowing for quite a while.
Yeah, we sort of get revealed to us that Arda has some supernatural ability of his own, some ability to like see future or see ghosts. Like he tells of a dream about his childhood friend and whatever, and then he dreams that he's dead, and then the next day the friend dies. Like he's got something else going on.
I interpreted that as the friend was already dead, and when he dreamed of him, that was him fulfilling the promise of meeting, of telling him, like visiting him after he died, and he was too scared to go talk to him in the dream, so he woke up, and then his mother told him that he had been killed in a car accident.
Yeah,
I
I agree with that.
I've sort of always interpreted it as he dreamt it and then the car accident happened. But I mean, you guys could have that right.
It go
I
either
think-
or.
I felt like he like reached out to him after because it was like fulfilling the promise, and then it was like he just died, and it's like oh man,
Yeah,
like,
but
quick interaction.
I could be too. We'll touch on this again later because I don't want to loop too far ahead. But there's something interesting about these car wrecks that I do want to go back to later on. Because for him to lose like all these people, and it doesn't say car accident necessarily or whatever. He's like killed by car. They keep saying over and over again, which is like, that makes sense later.
Makes a lot of sense
these
later.
5 toughs, if you will, are on their way to get what they deserve. A few weird things are happening. They have this funny singing scene I liked in the van.
Yep.
And they crash into a creek because they run over, presumably, one of these gypsy people that's around the fire. And then we kind of get the real part. The real movie is beginning, like the real sense of what's happening sets in.
Yep.
They're stuck somewhere. No phone, no radio.
Nothing works
Nothing.
anymore as soon as
Yes.
and so they enter this abandoned police station looking for who they're supposed to be backing up. And it's not too long before they find one of them. Or sort of, I guess, what's left of the one that they find. He's in one piece physically, but he is no longer a functioning human being. He's now just in a corner, bashing his head into the wall.
Which is nice.
It's some clear trauma. And then, he sort of points out where his partner is, and he's in way worse shape.
Yes, much worse shape.
But he gives like a creepy smile, like something's like overtaken him.
Yeah.
Like when he was bumping his head, I feel like that was like him just on like standby. And then once he saw them, it's like he turned on slowly but surely, like he leads him to his partner and stuff. So I think there's like a little possession involved, which is a nice little add-on.
Yeah, could be. Well, we see later on that that's definitely a facet of this. Baba does talk about that a little bit more too. But Ramsey tells Seffi to take him, I believe.
Mhm.
And Seppi takes the crazy dude, and the other four continue on their descent. Ooh. And they start to see. I mean, this is where you get your Hellraiser vibes, very berserk during the eclipse
Yep.
and stuff.
Yep.
These visceral scenes of carnage and sex and all sorts of fun stuff.
Mhm.
And these guys are getting
Mhm.
freaked out. And also, just this is where they start to get picked off.
Yep. And poor Sephi goes first. He stumbles.
Yeah, I
Seppi
felt
catches
bad.
it bad.
Just stumbles into a room full of like chained up humanoid things that are not chained to walls, just sort of chained to themselves, and they come after him.
They
Oh,
get
yeah.
him. And then the
They get him.
dude he's trying to help just laughs at him when he gets got. It's like, oh
Yep.
man, pretty rough. The second in command, what do they call him? Chief.
Yep.
They have some nickname for him. Chief. He gets cracked over the head with a sledgehammer. That's funny.
Yeah. Hoppo.
Right in his big old dome. Hoppo. The rest of them continue. And you get your chase scenes and stuff. We don't have to get too far into it unless you guys want to talk about the way they made it. There's definitely some puppeteering. There's not a lot of CGI from what I could tell.
No,
A
it's
lot of
in your
lighting
face.
work, like Ryan said.
In your face,
Mhm.
close camera shots, like you're feeling like what they're feeling. There's the chase, close quarters, claustrophobic.
You're as claustrophobic, and I'm just gonna keep on with your train of thought because you're muted.
Yeah, it's like going into a haunted house and like you're in that black room where there's like the polka dots or the person just wearing all the black, and there's someone there and you can't see. You just gotta follow the trail. Like that's
Mhm.
how I was up, and you open your eyes and through the camera's view, and you see this, like the room's all lighted up. You see all these imps, creatures around, and this little guy, Baba, comes out of nowhere.
Ooh, we jumped over the
All
giant
menacing.
first, though. Baba
Oh.
comes a little bit after the giants.
True.
The giant has a name too. There's a big minion with a cool design to him, and there is a
Was
name.
it a
I can't
he or
remember
a
it.
she?
I don't know. Could be either or.
Because it looks feminine based on the veil. Like I used to watch Captain Planet, so I was getting like Dr. Blight vibes.
Oh.
If you've ever seen Captain Planet, no.
He's a hero.
Like just based on the cover and how the hair is designed. But she's
Right.
gonna bring pollution down to zero. Damn straight,
Yeah,
Captain Planet.
Sure is.
But
Male or female, regardless, it's a great character and
Creepy.
Mhm.
gets the job done. And that he heralds in another heralding Baba, who's compared stature wise is much tinier. But you get the cloak, you get the cool reveal. They did a great job. They take their time with this movie, which is something I like.
Mhm.
They build suspense. They make the
Yeah.
reveal count. It really works out.
Oh, when he takes the cloak off the hood and like he's unveiling, you see the chains and the key locks and the tattoos. You're like, this is not a good dude. Like shit's gonna happen. These characters
No.
aren't gonna make it.
No,
That's what
he's
I
not.
thought.
He is not. He is immediately not a benevolent figure. He is immediately malevolent.
Yeah, he starts doing some
And-
insidious stuff to them right away.
And they're chained to columns now, the four that are alive, or Oppo, who is, severely brain damaged at this point, and Yavuz and Arda
Luckily.
and Ramsey. Yeah, because Oppo gets it bad.
Oppo does get it bad.
Yeah, he
I
does.
kind of squirmed a bit on the couch watching that.
Oh, when they
That's
That was tough.
that's probably the roughest one, where he,
The next one isn't too easy to handle either because I don't like things coming at my eyes.
no.
Yeah.
No.
yeah. But I don't know. There's something about watching a man's small intestines be pulled out like a rope.
Yeah, it's tough.
And-
That is tough.
Like that. That was rough.
Makes for a bad
That is rough.
Thursday afternoon. You know what I mean, everybody?
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best.
Disemboweled, I hear it's called.
Yeah. yeah.
Wowzers.
Not great.
Medieval times, not fun.
That's where, like we said, the Hellraiser vibes right there.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely.
It is rough. When is it Yemet? Not. I always say Yemet. He
Yavuz.
catches it. Yavuz grabs it. Yeah.
Yavuz's fate is probably worse than Appo's. Appo's is the worst. Was the worst for me to look at. He gets Yavuz gets
Yeah,
the
it's tough, too.
ceremonial knife to the eyes, and
He
then
kisses it. Ugh.
yeah, and then
Does
he
the
gets
Turkish thing.
he gets dragged off to have intimate relations with one of the humanoid creature things.
That's a weird
Yeah.
thing too. I didn't even think we were going to talk about this, but then that minion gives birth to a stone baby
Yep.
later on,
Well,
and I don't know what that's supposed to symbolize.
I don't know. I feel like that's part of Yavuz's fate because
Okay.
of his conversations at the beginning where he's talking about his sexual proclivities and his I don't care. Whatever, I'll do it. I don't care. I'll bang anybody. And he's kind of forced to do it.
And
Put up or shut up, buddy.
Yep.
it's the uncomfortability. Like it's what have it for a director to do this, to make you feel the thrill, to make you feel like what I say?
Just so you know, we're gonna edit in. It's gonna just say discomfort
This
over the screen during this whole part. It's
the
gonna be flashing. We're gonna give people epileptic seizures.
the
Listen to this one.
uncomfortability.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, the director allows you to feel discomfort, the thrills. He makes you laugh. He makes you feel good. This guy's very talented, and
Yeah,
it shows in this film. Is this his first film he ever directed? Like,
None of that matters. We're gonna start doing merch. It's gonna be Ryan's uncomfortability merch. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do hoodies. We're gonna do t-shirts, guys. Girls, you know, they wear the juicy the little
Uncomfortability.
shorts. It'll say uncomfortability across the bum. It's gonna be our claim to fame, baby. This is where we're going with things.
It's just be uncomfortable.
It's
There
where
we
we're going
go.
with things.
That
Yeah, the director is great
works.
too. You were saying something about the director. Uncomfortability.
Uncomfortability.
Is this his first film he ever directed, or has he done prior film?
He'd done other films.
Okay.
Believe he'd
Yeah,
done
not
other
a lot.
films.
And this is like a full envisioning of a short film from he made a couple years earlier. Baskin originated as like an 11 to 13 minute short film that he expanded
Okay.
on here.
I did read about that. That's
I
right.
love when that happens.
Mhm.
And
There's
like
something to be said about letting a project die and moving on too. But there's also
Mhm.
like when you have a short piece that you can expand upon, that's great.
like when I first watched this, I was certain Ken Evernall was about to like break out huge in the US. And it's happened. I mean, Alexander Aja is the one that comes to mind first. Like he was making French extremity horror movies, and then he's Hollywood's golden boy for like remakes and other stuff. But it never happened for Evernall, and it almost reading more about him, it almost seems like a choice. He doesn't necessarily want to come and make big American movies. That this is what he wants to do, and
Is
I
admirable.
mean, yeah, if that's the case, like my level of respect goes way up. Like it's not about like being super rich or making Hollywood movies. It's about I love doing this, and this is how I'm going to do it.
I respect that.
Fair enough. Let's hope
But
that
that-
is the case.
That's
Mhm.
what you want,
And
though.
he's got a couple recent ones I want to check out. There's one called Sayara, which I'd know nothing about. I just stumbled on it like researching for this episode. And then he did a remake of a movie called The Coffee Table, which he titled Turkish Coffee Table. I haven't seen The Coffee Table yet. It's on my list. It's definitely, from the little bit I've heard about it, it's definitely a right time kind of movie. From the descriptions I've heard, it is the darkest of black comedies that you're going to find.
Okay. Sold.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Do like a double feature with Fargo and then see how much he ups the ante with Turkish Coffee Table.
Oh, don't you
Do it.
know?
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Baskin.
Baskin.
Crazy imp Baba killing off all these people. I think we get another
Mhm.
flashback at this point, or flash 2 pause mode, and the
Yeah.
boss
yeah,
talks to him
we
again.
get Ramsey dying in the restaurant. Baba slits his throat in the basement, and we're back in the restaurant, and Ramsey is, he's sort of in his dying words is telling Arda that the one who dies first will come back to the other, and, you know, to not scare him. And
Which is
Ramsey's
a
gone
callback
back.
to the friend.
Yep.
It also made me
Mhm.
wonder, is this his childhood friend that's there to guide him in this moment? Like, I had a whole bunch of wonderings. Nothing that no
Yep.
thread I pulled on that really gave me anything more than that. Nothing got
Mhm.
substantiated from it, but it seemed like a lot of possibilities came from that one little bit. Plus, he pulls the key out for him at that scene.
Yep. And he
Super
gets the
cool.
key that fits the keyhole in Baba's head.
Which was cool too, how they did that.
Mhm.
And he just immediately
Mhm.
kind of gets one over. And that's how he begins his redemption arc. I don't know. What is it? His heroic escape, I guess, is a better way to describe it.
Yeah.
The manic Ash Williams escape. It's him
And at this point,
screaming,
too, we found
blood
out that
covered.
Arda is the child from the beginning of the movie as well.
Yes.
Yep.
We
Yes.
figured that out as well. So Baba had some sort of eye on him at the very least since the beginning, if not
Mhm.
abducted him at the beginning. Because I didn't know if he
Mhm.
got pulled earlier and this was some sort of time loop thing, but it looks like that's not the case either.
Mhm. And
Makes
you have those moments of like, oh, Arda's made it. We're gonna have something of a happy ending. We're gonna have a lone survivor, and he's staggering through the woods back to the road, and he gets to the road, and there's a van coming, and he waves, and he gets smoked by the van.
It
The
was
And
van
it's
great.
is
the van full of himself and 4 other cops.
Such
the
a
beginning
great
of the
twist.
movie to begin the cycle anew, which is
Mhm.
very, very akin to what we think of with hell, repetition,
Going through
torture.
the pain countless of times.
And then, of course, it also gives a little bit of light to what the girl says around the campfire. Maybe you should rest here for a little while because she understands that he's continuing to go through this over and over. And so they give you a little bit of a light, and you think, oh,
Mhm.
there's a way out. He can win this. He's the good guy. And then you see, oh, no, this is much more dismal than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I like that though.
Yep.
Like sometimes, like, I was always in that idea, like you have to have a happy ending. Like with horror. No. Just tear those people's hearts out and have like a sad ending, and people will love it even more.
Listen,
There
if
you go.
you earn it, you should do it.
Yep.
If you're just putting it in at the end to shock people, don't do it.
This movie earned it because that
Baskin
again,
earns it.
yeah.
Big time. A
Baskin
huge
earns it.
surprise. This movie's just a huge surprise for me. I haven't seen something that felt this refreshing in a while.
Mhm.
Didn't feel like he took huge chances. It was just well done. There was a
Yeah.
vision artistically pulled off. I like thinking throughout a movie like this, and it had me thinking the entire time.
Yep. So before we do our reviews, do you guys want to hear what some other people thought?
I couldn't believe that you found a review that we
Bring
could
the
use.
5-star.
Sure.
I mean, I had to weed through a lot of takes on this movie, and somehow racists have found this movie and don't particularly like it. So I had to weed through a bunch of disgustingness, but I did find some usable ones. Here's 5 stars. Really well shot, with an oppressive atmosphere and some beautifully grotesque imagery. Builds to a delicious orgy of gore, twisting throughout, descending to a thought-provoking, hellish final scene. Exquisite, macabre, and entertainingly extreme horror filmmaking.
Well written.
Yeah, that's it.
Jordan
It's a
nailed all the points.
mhm.
Done and done.
Period.
agree.
Grammar.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
We need more of this guy or girl.
Yeah. We maybe don't need as much of this next guy. 1 star.
Womp,
And
womp, womp.
it starts off in a direction I don't understand. Maybe he's from Turkey and this makes more sense there, but far be it for a Turkish film to delve into horror. But it manages to creep out at first, and then becomes a slow burn descent into some pit of sex and gore snuff. I do think a lot of talent and dedication went into create the lacking and confusing plot. But when better films like Passion of the Christ and As Above, So Below are out there, this is hardly a comparison, and more of a
Nice.
national Turkey's initiate into this type of genre.
You got your
Wild
Z-Lot.
comparison.
Got your
Wild.
Z-Lot. It's very clear to see where the bias comes in here. This is wild. This is
Yeah.
a highly religious person,
Yeah, and I mean,
Um, which is fine.
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
which
very
is what sort of what makes me believe that this person is very likely of Turkish descent, given that Turkey is so divided religiously between, Christianity and Islam that you probably would expect to get takes like that on a movie that sort of skews more Muslim than Christian.
Fair point.
Fair. Yeah.
And one last one is a little bit of a longer one. It's also a 1/2 star review.
Ooh.
Half star.
Yeah.
Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
I consider myself a pretty big fan of horror movies and thrillers. At this point, I've drained the majority of all streaming services of their decent horror movie supply. So I thought I'd branch out. I searched all over Hulu and eventually found Baskin. I read the short description and my interest was piqued. I checked Rotten Tomatoes to see if it was worth the watch, and to my astonishment, this film had almost 80% certified fresh. Welp, here we are now. I literally made a Rotten Tomatoes account just to review this movie.
Another one of these guys?
Yep. Baskin is 90 minutes of my life I'll never get back. But here I am hoping my review will dissuade at least one other horror movie enthusiast from ever picking this trash up. The plot is terrible. The writing is terrible. The acting is mostly terrible with some okay moments. The place where this movie truly shines is in the makeup. But that's no way a few good makeup artists could ever save this steaming pile. Avoid this like the plague.
Probably thinks that Baba is all makeup too, which is pretty funny.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure
If
he
you found
does.
out, you'd be like, "Oh, the makeup sucks too." This guy's.
There's no
missing the
makeup.
thread.
Guess what?
All natural.
Some people. So when you get into movies that are heady like this one is, and the allegory isn't familiar because we are used to the same allegories. This isn't Christian allegory.
No.
If anything, this would be focused a little bit more towards Islam or even something else.
Yeah.
So when you're getting into that, you're not getting your usual.
Yeah, it's probably closer to like Turkish folklore than any modern religion, but
What we filthy whites would call what we would call sort of Celtic folklore and things like that. The Fae, the Nordic, the Anglo way of thinking of it.
Yeah.
But this is their version, a more Persian version, if you will.
Persian version.
Yes, sir.
Version. If you
They had a
will.
rich culture. So I think that might factor in. We might not even have to just say that this guy's racist. That's
No,
not what I'm
I
getting at.
don't think it. Yeah, I think. Listen, I will concede. Baskin is probably not going to be for everybody.
Right.
There are parts of it that are slow, and that's something that people struggle with now. It's 90 minutes,
You
but
hear
there's
that,
not.
you TikToks out there? You hear that?
Yeah.
Put the phones down. You're ruining your brains.
It's okay.
I'm
It's
sorry.
okay to watch that stuff, but don't let that be the only thing that you can view, the only tempo you can view. Things can move slowly and still be great.
Expand your
Wait.
horizons.
And
Watch
that's
The
I think
Irishman.
it's called anticipation. And then there's something called a payoff. Oh, it's delightful. It's just the best, the tops. So I get where like maybe where this guy's opinion stems from, but I don't agree with it at all, and I think
No,
he
I
should
don't.
step on a rusty
Yeah,
nail.
yeah. I think if
Yeah.
you've exhausted the supply of streaming horror, you've probably watched a lot of, the modern American things that are paced how they're paced, and when you find something that's not paced that way, it's gonna not resonate with you the same.
Yeah.
True. Fair point.
There we go.
So, with those ideas out, what's you guys' ratings?
I don't often go higher than 3 point somethings, but I'm going to give Baskin a 4 stars.
Wow.
4 stars. I think it earned it, man.
Okay.
They did a lot with a little. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sure it wasn't a zero budget, but I know it wasn't a huge budget.
No.
No.
They nailed down a few vibes. The misdirection thing alone is a huge leg up for me, and I like that I don't necessarily know how it ends, and that's not a negative, but they make that a
Mhm.
positive at the end, which takes
So-
talent.
I'm gonna, and I don't know how this translates to making a movie in Turkey. I just looked it up real quick. $350,000 budget, 350,000 US dollars. I mean, like I said,
I'd
I
imagine
don't know
there's
what
probably
that.
close to $1 million.
Yeah, I don't know.
equitably.
And
'Cause
2015.
You're renting places, you're paying for permits and stuff. All that's way cheaper. So
No, they didn't.
Oh.
They
Oh,
did
they
not
just
have a
filmed?
lot.
think so.
They did not have a lot of permits. Everett all
Underground
admits that.
filmmaking.
Yeah, he was just
Love it.
guerrilla filming a lot.
Oh,
of
that's
this. Like,
great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah,
But I
they
mean, like
didn't
all
have-
those types of costs.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Everything would be cheaper there, so that you can stretch that further.
Mhm.
That's great though. That's a great little bit of trivia right there,
Yeah,
John.
That is
I
cool.
love that. Ryan, what do you got?
So I was going to go with a 4, but I am going to go with a 3.75. Not because I didn't like it. I think it's a good movie. I like the actors. I like the story. I like the writing. Love the directing and the camera work. I just wish it was longer. I wish maybe a little more. I like how the ending, you have them all trapped and they're going through their thing, but maybe like have them separated and like have each of the characters go through their own individual hell, except like but I mean that's about it. Maybe a little longer would get me to the 4 stars, like
Mhm.
and like 100-minute film, 110-minute film, couple
Mhm.
20 minutes.
I get that. I saw some of that stuff in some of the reviews about like there not being enough character development. I would say they sort of developed the characters in the priority. Like obviously
Yes.
Arda and Remzi are the two people you want the most development with, and then it's Yavuz. And then
Yep.
Oppo and Sefi are just sort of there.
Street
they get
foils, yeah.
they get little bit parts and stuff, but this is really, you want to know Remzi and Arda.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Fair.
with that
All right.
with that said, I think I go higher than both of you. I think I'm at a 4.5 on this because I like this movie.
Wow.
I like this movie more every time I watch it.
It's a
Because
good
there's-
movie.
See that?
It's layers. Like you see different things every time you watch it.
That's cool. Hear that, listeners? You got to get after it. The only problem is it's not terribly easy to stream or access either. I wish it was for more mainstream viewers because you have to hunt for it a bit.
There is
Isn't
there-
it on Shudder?
I don't think it's still on Shudder. No, it was. I don't think it's been on there for a while. But there is a really nice 4K from Severin.
Okay.
Real nice. It's a real nice. They did a really good job with it. They give it some cool packaging.
Nice. Good.
Does
good
it
for
come
them.
with a key though?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. If
No,
you could put
sure
the
it
key in
does.
it and just open it up.
No. But
The key to my heart?
and you can like Severin's one of those places that gives you a couple times a year 50% off sales. So
Yeah.
you could probably pick it up for like $20 to $25 in one of those.
Physical media's
right.
making a comeback.
Good to know.
Support it. Support the physical media, because if, like you said, it's not easy to find this movie to stream. But you know what you don't have to do if you have a physical copy is stream anything.
True.
That's very true. All right, guys. That's Baskin for us. We're going to segue into our top fives now.
Top five this week, gentlemen, is top 5 films that depict hell. And I'm going to start it off with, I think, everyone's favorite, at least in the year of 1997, based on the hype, and that's Spawn. Al Simmons.
CGI does not hold up, but yes, it's a great movie.
No, I mean the scenes where they depict hell. Little quick background. Former Marine Al Simmons is turned on by his superior Jason Wynn and Angelica Priest, an army for Malbolgia, the ruler of hell, led by the clown, the Violeta, played by John Leguizamo, and
What? John who?
John Leguizamo.
John what? It sounds like a baseball player from the Dodgers. Lugazamo coming up the bat.
Now batting, Lou Gazamo.
I believe it's pronounced Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo. It's
Leguizamo.
killer role, but I mean how they depict hell. The CGI doesn't hold up with the hell spawns celebrating and stuff, but it's a cool little scene for 1997, which leads to a better follow-up in his version of not Constantine, but Constantine. Good interpretation of the character. I love the show that was on NBC for one season, but the movie does a great job, and it's about him kind of dealing with his demons. He's dealing with half angels, half demons, and trying to prevent Gabriel, the fallen angel, from causing an apocalypse on Earth. And their quick depiction of hell, it's just so good, especially with Lucifer at the end. I'm skipping on the actor's name, but just a phenomenal scene.
He's a Russian space station.
I'm
He's a good
forgetting
character.
Oh, he's amazing. He was in Prison Break, The Flash. He was actually Count Vertigo, which amazing role.
Because he's fantastic. It's Peter Stormare.
There we go. He's so good.
Stormare. How do you
Which-
pronounce it?
I think you got it.
You got it.
I think it's
Yeah.
Stormare.
Which leads me to another
Maybe he's-
great character actor who's still alive, Tim Curry, and this is legend. He plays Darkness. Whoa. He's still alive. He is
Ah, that's right.
Darkness. But it stars Tom Cruise, Mia Sara, Tim Curry. It's about Jack, a pure being who must stop the Lord of Darkness from covering the world with eternal night by killing a simple unicorn. And it's got that universal vibe when they show hell. It's creepy, and I love it. Which leads to, of course, number 2, Event Horizon, Lost
was waiting
Space
for it.
Station. That's ever just seeing it again. It's definitely a number 2, and it's not like they're going into hell; they're bringing hell
number
to
2.
them.
Never a number 2.
It's
Well,
never a number 2.
Never a number 2. No.
Well, ironically, my number 1 is a number 2, and that's Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Come on, that
That worked way too well for it being unplanned. All right, keep going. No, let's not ruin it.
well, Christy Cotton, played by Kirsty Lawrence, comes back. She's submitted to a psychiatric hospital after the events of the first film, where Uncle Frank tried to do some unimaginable things to her, and the good doctor who runs the whole thing is trying to open hell, and you venture into hell. You get to learn more about the Cenobites, and hell looks like a very modern place, but it's not a safe place. Definitely not a safe place. But that's my top 5 on that one.
Nice top 5, Ryan.
I like it.
Thank you.
I like
Thank
it.
you.
Go.
I like it.
What's your
So-
top 5? Because, I want to know.
So I mentioned earlier how I first came across Baskin and how it was just like a little blurb on Shudder with the image, and it sounded good. So I watched and I loved it. So I went with 5 other movies plus an honorable mention that I went into blind and ended up really, really liking. And most of them are the same way as Baskin. They were on Shudder or another streaming service, and I stumbled on them and love them. Love them. But number 6 is not one of those. Number 6, the honorable mention, is Prometheus, because somehow I missed the whole ad campaign to Prometheus. I didn't know it was an alien movie until the very end. And
Cool.
so like that was like such an awesome moment to be. And so it doesn't really fit with the rest of the list that I put together, but I did want to put that on
Yeah, I
here
think
just for that.
Just for the story. Yeah, just for
Yeah.
the story. That's pretty sweet.
I'm
Yeah.
jealous about that
Me
because I
too.
saw all the trailers and I was like, "Oh, this is definitely Alien." I'm so hyped, and
I
that
I
would've
knew
been
it was
great.
out. I heard a little description of it and like I wanted to see it, but I knew nothing going in.
I was
Oh,
gonna
Not
say,
even
did you-
Ridley Scott was involved.
I knew Ridley Scott was involved, but like he's made stuff that's not Alien.
Fair. Yeah, it's kind of dumb of me to say. Like Ridley
Yeah.
dude, it was
Yeah.
Wow.
My number 5, I'm pretty sure I've never called this one out, it's an Indonesian movie directed by Joko Anwar, who has never missed.
Okay.
I've seen a number of his movies now. They're all disturbing, wonderful, well-told stories. Number 5 is Satan's Slaves.
Okay.
I've
So-
never seen it.
Sound 70s.
Man, there was a 70s one. It's not the
Oh, cool.
same
Yeah.
same title. This is not a remake of the 70s one. It's just a 70s movie that was called Satan's Slaves. Very different. But so the matriarch of an Indonesian family succumbs to a long-term illness, leaving the survivors in a bizarre and worsening haunting that puts them all in grave danger. And it's this creepy atmosphere. And, like, it was another Shudder movie that I sort of found the same way. Just flipping through, like, what do I want to watch? Oh, that sounds good. And,
Shutter's got
like,
hidden gems.
absolutely blew me away. Which is also how I found my number 4, which is a 2020 Belgian movie called Yummy. So a young couple plus the woman's mother traveled to an Eastern European hospital for cosmetic surgeries for the wife and mom. Wife is getting a breast reduction, mom is getting another facelift, and a bored boyfriend wanders the hospital and finds out the darker side of this hospital and the strange tests that they're running and the zombies that they're creating. It's horror comedy. It's a good time. It doesn't reinvent everything, but it's a lot of fun. My number 3, also not reinventing a whole lot. It's a movie called We Summon the Darkness.
Yeah.
So 3 friends head to a metal show where they meet 3 women and they hit it off. And after the show, they go hang out. All with the backdrop of a series of ritualistic murders. We get a nice little twist in this one that I won't reveal anything about. And you get Alexandria Daddario, who's really good in this and really nice to look at. And you get
He's
some
super
Johnny
upbeat.
Knoxville. You get some Johnny Knoxville in this one too.
Probably the least appealing
Sold.
thing
Oh, I'm like
that
sold.
you've listed. I like Knoxville.
It's
I
a
am
very different role for him. For sure, it's a very different Johnny Knoxville role. I
Like,
don't think I've ever seen him in
sadistic?
anything similar. He's a reverend,
Oh. Very
like
opposite.
one of the fire and brimstone type.
I could see that though.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a good role for him. My number 2 is a movie. I think I actually heard about this on a podcast first, called The Devil's Candy. So a family moves in a new home in Texas, and the painter husband becomes possessed by a sinister force and begins to unravel in some pretty horrifying ways. It's a really, really cool descent into madness movie. And you get Ethan Embry, you get Sherry Appleby, and you get a really super creepy performance from Taylor Vance, who, if you may not recognize the name, if you Google him, you will recognize the man. And you'll realize for him to put in a performance that I point out as creepy, it has to be kind of extra creepy because he's a creepy dude to begin with.
Okay.
And number one, I feel like maybe I've put this one out before, but it's an Argentinian movie called Terrified.
I think you have talked about
Yes.
Terrified before.
Yes, you have.
So, a paranormal investigator, her colleague, and a police officer begin to investigate a Buenos Aires neighborhood after a string of unusual events. What they discover is horrifying, and they'll be lucky to survive.
They
I'm
will be
in.
lucky to survive, but they'll be terrified.
This Terrified is legit scary. Like Terrified
Oh,
had
good.
moments that legit scared me.
Right now I have to watch it because that's high praise from you, John. But all right, guys, that's the top fives for the movie,
fives.
the episode on Baskin. And you're going to listen to me and John say goodnight because Ryan's muted again. Later, everybody.